Alright, guys, hello. I've missed you all dearly. I just want to share this. I finally figured out the answer to a question I've had for a very long time. So I've wondered, why do they teach 8-year-old kids about events that happened almost 500 years ago? This is for the American audience only, which is like 50% or some shit. Um, why do they teach an 8-year-old kid about constitutions and marches and protests and revolutions and Boston Tea Parties? Why do they teach that to a small child who can't really comprehend what's being said there? And then you grow up catching up to history where we are now. Why do they do that? Right? Wouldn't it make more sense for them to teach young children about recent modern history, and as the child grows, they learn further back in history? So not only would that give them a more well-rounded understanding of history, but it would be presenting the material that's harder to grasp to a more fully developed mind that's actually able to grasp it. When they teach that shit to children, it's just like it sounds like a game. Um, but I figured it out. The reason is the same reason that they teach children at a young age to protest. They damn sure ain't teaching no high school and college kids about protests. Um, the reason is because the child doesn't question information. When the kid is in school and the teacher's telling them whatever, the way that the teacher is perceived by the child is as an all-knowing authority figure, usually. So they learn about these protests and how to get the government to do what you want, and then they believe it, and they grow up accepting it and never questioning it, and then you have, well, we have now. You have people standing in big crowds with signs, and nobody really gives a shit. If the people were taught how the forefathers, so to speak, got the government to do what they wanted, there'd be a lot of dead motherfuckers out here. Sorry for cussing. But that's the truth. Like, seriously, there was an increase in taxes on one thing, and there was like damn near all-out war. Um, this federal government is an absolute beast. A beast. And it's just an idea that people play along with. I don't get it. But they teach the kid about ancient history because the kid can't grasp it. And as the child grows, he slowly forgets about it and says, oh, that was then, this was now, or this is now. And it's just presented as if it's not realistic anymore. Um, like, as someone who lives in America and owns guns, um, I'm 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 well aware of many things. I'll just put it like that. Um, and I'm more than willing to change things. If you don't fight to change things, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. But as of right now, the only thing that I can change is my own little personal life here, and that's what I try to do. But they teach kids about violence, because that's what it was, about all the violence that happened for freedom as a child, because they grow up and accept that that's not how things work anymore. If you were to teach let's say a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old is in school, right? And they already know that things ain't right. Society is structured incorrect. Um, the chances of them escaping poverty is slim. Um, and you teach them about how a group of men plotted and executed an insurrection and were able to not only overthrow the government that oppressed them, but they founded the largest and possibly the greatest nation on the earth. And I don't mean that as in the people are greater. I mean it's founded on a list of rules that come from God. It's a man is free to do these things because God said so, and if you live here, you're free to do them. I can go to a gun show, gun store, pawn shop. I got a gunsmith right around the corner. I can go there, buy a gun, throw it over my shoulder, pack it down the street anytime I fucking want to. Kentucky, here where I'm at, is also self-defense state, because apparently some places think that if someone runs up and assaults you, you should curl up in a ball and cry. Not this guy. Of course, it would take a lot, like a lot for me to shoot someone, because that shit hurts. I don't want to hurt nobody. But they'll teach. I'm sorry, I keep going off on a tangent. They'll teach children about these men who wanted freedom and they got it by fighting. They teach it to children because children don't think to act on it. If you taught that same material to someone who is 16, 17, 18, how these men were oppressed by a tyrannical government that thought it could do what the fuck it wanted, but they did this and this and that, those 16, 17, 18-year-olds are going to do that. They are going to make it happen. You never ever doubt the potential of any single individual. Everyone is capable of anything. And I mean that literally. Everyone is capable of anything. All they have to do is have enough willpower, motivation, and drive. They want it, they're going to try for it, and they're going to get it. And they will. As long as, if they never doubt themselves, as long as they don't fracture the psyche and have one half of them thinking that they want it and they should get it, and the other half is like, oh, but maybe I shouldn't. As long as they don't have that doubt, they'll get it every single time. So yeah, that's it. I finally figured that out, and I wanted to share it with you guys. That's why they teach kids about ancient history, which it's like 500 years ago. They teach kids about the founding of America and all that shit, which is mostly false. But in the most general sense, a group of insurrectionists conspirators plotted and carried out this conspiracy to start an insurrection and succeeded. Now, that's true in a very, very general sense. If you want to couple in the fact that Christopher Columbus discovered America with funding by Catholic monarchs and the Catholic Church, and then this insurrection happened, you're free to do so. I might do it too. If you want to do it together, we could do it together. But they don't teach young adults how to get freedom because they don't want the young adults to get freedom. That's the gist of what I'm trying to say. That's what I figured out. I always wondered, why do they teach children to protest for a really long time? And then I was like, oh, duh. It's because they'll just accept it, and that'll be that. They'll never even question it. That's why there's all these adults protesting. But I could never figure out why they teach young kids about old history and old kids about young history. I couldn't figure it out. Now I know. I figured the answer out. It's kind of simple, wasn't it? Peace out, guys. I love you all.